I'm not looking forward to the Fast and Furious spin-off movie with Dwayne Johnson.
I don't think anyone's looking forward to that, to be honest.
You're looking forward to that because you like Dante Reyes and because he may introduce another movie to New Zealand again. You know what he might introduce? Minecraft. The live-action Minecraft movie starts filming in New Zealand in August.
Oh, is it filmed here?
Yeah, they're filming it here. I found that out today.
The fuck?
Minecraft, live action. How does that work? Jason Momoa is the main lead for that.
I guess Momoa is going to be in New Zealand for a very long time.
I mean, I don't know what's in New Zealand. We don't have blocky landscapes. They're round and they're nice.
Everyone likes round things.
Moving on. But yeah, no, apparently the Dwayne Johnson Fast and Furious spin-off movie that is going to bridge Fast X to, I guess, Fast X Part 2. It's called Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Reyes. So very similar to the Hobbs and Shaw one, but this time it's going to be focusing on the rivalry between Dante Reyes by Jason Momoa and Luke Hobbs by Dwayne Johnson. How do you like, I guess, the idea of the Hobbs spin-off movie, another one for him, as well as the bridge between Fast X and the finale of the Fast and Furious franchise?
I mean, I do like Hobbs as a character. Like, I think you said it multiple times on and off this podcast, is that it's like the perfect role for The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's only elevated when it's part of, the main core storyline. Hobbs and Shaw, like, he wasn't as good because, he had a somewhat carry, and Hobbs isn't really he's not really a main story sort of guy. He's just better suited as a side story or side character.
Definitely.
But Rock being Rock,
Yeah.
In terms of this being the bridge, it's no longer a spoiler, right?
Pardon?
It's no longer a spoiler, right?
No. They've had a month and it drops like 60% every week. It's out on digital, man. Like, yeah.
That's true. So, yeah, the post-credit scene obviously showed us The Rock, Hobbs coming back and seeing pretty much a message that Dante Reyes, Jason Momoa's villainous character, leave a message for him. Yeah. Saying like, oh, you're the one that pulled the trigger, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So everyone would have thought that would have happened within the same, like as the Fast X was going, that would have happened at the same time. But it seems like as if this is going to be before that. Yeah, from what you just said, it sounds like as if it's going to be before that, but it's the bridge between that and that. So obviously this conflict between Hobbs and Reyes is going to be dealt with before you even get to Fast and Furious 11. So which means that Reyes is going to win.
Yeah.
If they didn't say it was a bridge, but like they said it was like parallel.
Right, so it takes place at the same time that the events of Fast X.
Same time, yeah. So like how whenever
it could still be like that. I wouldn't put too much weight into the bridge part, but it's going to connect to Fast X Part 2 in some sense. So perhaps
it'll be really cool because, like, how in Fast X, like Dante was there fucking around with Vin Diesel, and then he went off screen.
Yeah.
What if, like, when we went off screen, we got to the Rock's part of the story, and then it's like, for on video, you can see what I'm doing with my hands, but it's two separate stories.
Third incentive right there. Yep.
It's two separate stories, and it like interlinks towards the final story, which is Fast 11.
Yeah.
Similar to Dunkirk, you got different timelines.
Do not compare those.
I know, but
please.
I have to. It was the first one that came to my head. Come on.
I knew you were going to say it as well.
I had multiple storylines and it all came towards the main story. So this is something probably not as good, definitely not as good as what Dunkirk did, but similar approach, That's probably what they can do. What was the second question on that? I don't know if I answered it or not.
You answered both. Yeah, so I'm pretty much in agreement with what you're saying. I would much prefer it to be parallel. In fact, I would love the entire like Fast X events to be in the movie with the Fast and Furious Presents Reyes vs. Hobbs, but from a third person kind of angle. Like, I don't know what movie's done it for, but it's definitely been done. Say certain events happened in Fast X, but you see it from a different shot, as if like Hobbs is like looking at, say, that bomb rolling through Rome, and he's like, oh shit, I gotta catch him. And then it switches and it focuses on the Rock's part of the story with REYES and stuff like that. I think that would probably be the best way to do it. And then it leads up to kind of that post-credit scene and then the connection with Fast X. If it can, if it can end with, say, the events of Fast X, because it left on a cliffhanger. If it can apply some of that cliffhanger and connect that to what's happening with Momoa, say he's trying to not Momoa, sorry, with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. If you see him trying to get to Vin Diesel and the family or whatever, trying to, assure them or like save them or whatever it may be, connect the cliffhangers directly and show that the Fast X is part of this spin-off story, because then you're only going to elevate the anticipation and hype for the last one. So if they connect it and it runs parallel, then great. I'm on board with this. I don't think it's going to be good, but it can be fun and it can just make me a little bit more excited for Fast X Part 2. But if it's, as you stated before, if it's a bridge between the end of Fast X towards the start of Fast X Part 2, how does that work? What happens? Does he win? What's going on?
This has to release next year, right?
Pardon?
This has to release next year.
That's what I was going to get to as well. That was my follow-up, because Fast X Part 2 is in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to start filming now.
Yeah, you can't have it after.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking dumb.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Since you came at me with the question I was going to ask you initially, kudos to you on that one. How would you feel if Fast and Furious presents Dante or REYES versus fucking HOBBS or whatever it's called? Say that debuts in February, and then in May we get Fast X Part 2. So it's a very close back-to-back.
That'll be good. I don't think they'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably have it in that December to January.
Okay, I'm going to go a step further here. March has become a big month for releases. So end of March, middle of May, you got the Fast and Furious presents HOBBS and REYES. And then in May, middle of May, you got Fast X Part 2.
That is good. I do like that idea. Because it's obviously one film building up anticipation for another. And, it's, I don't think there's been a recent example where two movies of a franchise release it close to each other.
Exactly, yeah.
If people see the events of the spin-off and if the cliffhanger is as good-ish as Fast X, then it's going to build up hype for this final film, because obviously we're having these stories coming together and it's going to hopefully, probably should be, judging by the box office, be concluded in this final Fast and Furious film.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a good idea. If it's after Fast 11 comes out and then it's the spin-off, don't even bother making it, because we already know the story. It's like Black Widow all over again.
Yeah.
We're going to see whether Dante lives or dies. Yeah. No one gives a fuck whether he lives or dies after Fast 11 and that he give us a spin-off. We already know the end game, because we already know that The Rock is probably going to be in Fast 11. We already know his story to it. No one gives a shit about how these two have beef.
Yeah.
But people will go see it.
I mean, yeah, completely agree. And if I was to predict this, I would say that the spin-off with The Rock will just be it will be moved into Fast X Part 2's spot, and they'll be pushed back to a year later, which could be fine. But now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want to see the end of March, middle of May.
The double whammy.
I want to see if that works, because it's a spin-off movie. It's not a Fast X. It's like you couldn't do Infinity War and Endgame straight away. But because the MCU's massive. It's the biggest franchise in history. Fast X is dying very fast. It's not making money. People aren't interested. They don't care. So if you did it back to back and you had The Rock in both of those, you could do it and film the movies back to back. Go that direction.
I think that's a dying trend now. Filming things back to back.
Yeah, if you do that and then release them almost simultaneously to lead up to it, I don't know if it would work, and I'm not forecasting if it would work or anything, but I would love to see the results, because say it works. Say it actually that momentum works, and Fast X Part 2 makes more money than both Fast X Part 1 and the spin-off with The Rock. Maybe more of the stuff can happen. Maybe they can start making 2 movies at the same time and release 2 movies like within 3 months of each other. Like Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond. What if Beyond was coming in September? How excited would you be?
That'd be insane. I think
it'd be pumped, like to the max. Yeah,
it actually would be. I think every week there'll be like a Spider-Verse segment. I mean, there already is every week a Spider-Verse segment, but for like solid 3 months.
And marketing, the marketing would be the hard part about it.
I think it'd be a lot more easier.
Easier without spoiling it.
Because you can somewhat have like non-spoilerific clips. So say I'm going to use Spider-Verse. So if they're marketing Across the Spider-Verse, they can easily have clips from Beyond that don't really, spoil anything.
Wait, so for like the Spider-Verse as the example, if they were marketing Beyond before Across the Spider-Verse came out, how would they just use clips from Across or into the Spider-Verse as like little teasers?
Yeah, or even like they can incorporate Beyond into the trailer for Across. No one's going to know the difference
until the movie comes out.
Yeah. But then if it's like a little like 2-second thing on the trailer, that's like an awesome moment. Everyone's going to be like, no one's really going to be like, oh wait, that wasn't in there.
Yeah.
Unless you're like really looking.
Yeah, it would be, you'd be surprised about people like that.
Yeah, I know.
There are people like that.
I know there are.
For something like Beyond, if it does come in March next year, I'm not watching a trailer for it because it ended on a cliffhanger. Like everything you see is a spoiler, technically.
Yeah.
Unless someone tells me, oh, it's all just flashback stuff to build hype. Fine, I'll watch it. I think marketing, if that was the strategy, would be very hard because I think people would point it out and all that kind of stuff. But you could do like a little like legacy trailer for Fast X Part 2's case. And I'll say a little, it's not going to be controversial, but it'll be a hot take. And I don't think people would agree with it. But I think Brian O'Connor has to come back. And I'm not joking. And how you do it, you got to do it in a way that's tasteful, obviously, not a way that diminishes his legacy. But the franchise clearly doesn't survive without him. And it can be his voice, unused behind the scenes footage, unused footage from like deleted scenes, or use a bunch of kind of footage from Paul Walker, add legacy to that character. He doesn't need to be a main character and fighting alongside, but he needs to have some weight in it and have some kind of like emotional tale. And obviously with Mia and the Toretto family, that connection's there, and he needs to be able to like be an emotional focus for it. So what's your take on that? If they were to have him in it, but obviously done in a very respectful way, and anything that they can't do, they use Paul Walker's brothers to come in and give like an emotional send-off to the character as well as the legacy, obviously.
I've already got an emotional send-off for the character in Fast 7. So
But
we don't really need that. But I do know your point. Like, you can't have a final Fast and Furious movie without Paul Walker because he's literally the second pillar in this entire franchise.
And I'm saying that in knowing that he's constantly mentioned and he pulls up in the car and all that kind of stuff. So his characters are well and alive.
Yeah. They can do something. I don't think it's going to be the extent of Furious 7 where, like, they use his brothers to, like, use his doubles and whatnot. It doesn't need to be to that extent. It can literally be as what you said, which is a voice and whatnot. Or even like even they can like use previous clips. I mean, they have done that in the past. So that could be another thing as well. Sorry, I'm watching James trying to bait this mice, so I'm talking to my opinion. I'm
not baiting anything.
You got a paintbrush. You're just like, come here. What mouse wants a paintbrush?
Don't believe this man. We're not on video yet. You can't prove it.
Yeah, what was I saying? No, Paul Walker. Yeah. I think less is better with this character. Like, I know everyone wants like Paul Walker to feature quite heavily in this, but
I don't think anyone does. I haven't heard anything. I just thought of that because I'm like, the franchise is missing him. Yeah.
Or just, I think people want more Paul Walker, more like teasers to him rather than just like an ending scene sort of thing.
I would like him to be in the final moment saying goodbye to the Fast family and stuff like that. don't like kill them off or anything, but like the Fast and Furious franchise and the cast ensemble, they were clearly close.
Yeah.
Where we saw all of it with Paul Walker. And I think Vin Diesel would be quite open and actually encourage a final Brian O'Connor scene where those two can be together and say goodbye.
Yeah.
And I know it's like, I know he's passed away and it's sad and stuff, but I think if Paul Walker's around, I think he would like that. It'd be a nice legacy capping off that character. And you made a good point that we already got the perfect ending with him. Absolutely. But the franchise is ending, the Treader family's ending. So for that to be,
I think Paul Walker, Brian O'Connor.
Yeah. Brian O'Connor.
He definitely, it's the last Fast and Furious franchise. You have to have him in there.
Yeah.
Like,
in some way.
His
voice or.
You can't just like have like a CGI or like a car just pop in and drive like, oh yeah, Brian's here. Because that's just not enough. We got that in Fast and Furious 9.
Yeah.
We just need to see something or hear something from him. Because like,
and
again,
imagine the audience would go crazy for that. They'd be like, oh my gosh, and they'd cry and they'd freak out. But yeah,
obviously they can't spoil it. That I think the impact will hit more if they keep it close to their chest. Have it released opening week, and everyone just talk about that Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker moment.
Yeah,
and look at that. It's word of mouth. That's more people into the box office, and boom, Fast X's failure is now gone.
Yeah, and it was a failure. But yeah, no, everything that we talked about, obviously the Rock spin-off Fast and Furious movie, we need that to be parallel with Fast X, and then hopefully release them or film them back to back, so they can be close together. And then obviously having Brian O'Connor's involvement in some capacity, I think that might be able to save the franchise before it's too late. If you're going to do the Rock spin-off in 2025 and then Fast X Part 2 in 2026, 2027, much people aren't going to care about then. You go back to being a 500 and under franchise.
Yeah.
That's just my thoughts on it.